This photograph was taken on a cold November night in 1991. 37 hours later, Jake Morrison would be trapped in complete darkness, bleeding and freezing, convinced he was about to die. The person who would save his life? The one guy in this photo that everyone, including Jake, had spent months treating like garbage. If you've ever wondered how far you'd go to belong, hit that subscribe button, because this story will make you question everything you think you know about loyalty. September 1991. Jake Morrison arrived at Westfield University as nobody special, just a quiet kid from Cleveland looking to reinvent himself. That's when he met Adam Chen, the charismatic president of Sigma Chi Fraternity. When Adam said, "You look like Sigma Chi material," Jake felt something he'd never felt before. He felt seen. But there was someone else paying attention to Jake too. Megan Liu, a pre-med sophomore who became his study partner in Biology 101. She'd made her feelings about Greek life crystal clear. You know what fraternity stands for. Paying for friends while pretending it's about brotherhood. Jake laughed it off. Megan didn't understand what it was like to spend 18 years being invisible. The rush process was intoxicating. Parties where girls actually talked to him. Late-night conversations about legacy and brotherhood. And through it all, Adam was there, hand on Jake's shoulder, telling him he had real potential. There was one other pledge who stood out, though not in a good way. Brian Foster. Awkward, soft-spoken, always saying the wrong thing. The older brothers loved messing with Brian, and Jake watched it happen, sometimes even joining in, because making fun of Brian meant he wasn't the target. Megan noticed the change immediately. "You're becoming one of them," she said one October evening when Jake showed up late, smelling like beer. One of what? A guy with actual friends? No. One of the guys who thinks cruelty is the price of admission. Jake stormed out. What did she know? November arrived with an announcement that made Jake's stomach drop with both terror and exhilaration. Hell Week. 7 days of challenges to prove whether pledges had what it took. The first few days were brutal but manageable. Sleep deprivation, memorizing every brother's name going back to 1952, drinking challenges. But on day 5, Jake overheard something chilling. Adam and senior brothers talking in low tones about the final test at the warehouse. Their laughter was dark, knowing, and it made his skin crawl. The next day, Megan appeared at his dorm with a folder of newspaper clippings. Headlines from 1991. Student dies in fraternity hazing ritual. Sophomore hospitalized after Greek life incident. "Please tell me you're not going through with whatever they have planned," she begged. "My cousin pledged a fraternity in 1989. They told him it was just tradition too. He ended up with a traumatic brain injury. That's not us. Sigma Chi isn't like that. How do you know? No group of letters is worth your life, Jake." But when Friday came, Jake got in the car with the other pledges. Walking away now would mean the last 2 months had been for nothing. They arrived at an abandoned warehouse just after midnight. Adam stood at the entrance, flashlight in hand, wearing an expression between excitement and cruelty. "Welcome to the final test. We've set up a course in the basement. It's dark, it's challenging. Last one out faces consequences. Your phones stay with us. No quitting. Remember, every Sigma Chi brother has survived this." Visual. POV shot descending concrete stairs into absolute darkness. A flashlight beam reveals glimpses of industrial debris. Then the light goes out. Only blackness. The moment they cut the lights, chaos erupted. Jake moved forward carefully, hands outstretched. Music started blasting upstairs, swallowing any sounds from below. Smart. No one outside would hear anything. He'd been moving for maybe 15 minutes when his foot found nothing but air. Jake crashed through rotted floorboards into a deeper sublevel. The impact knocked the wind from his lungs and sent white-hot pain through his left leg. He tried to call out, but his voice was swallowed by music and concrete. His leg buckled when he tried to stand. The hole above was at least 8 feet up. Every attempt to climb sent agony through his body. He screamed until his throat was raw. Nothing. The party had started. They'd forgotten about him. Hours crawled by. The cold seeped into his bones. His leg had gone numb. He thought about his parents. about Megan and how right she'd been, about what a stupid way this was to die. Then he heard it. A voice calling his name. Jake? Jake Morrison? He pounded on the nearest pipe with the last of his strength. A flashlight beam cut through the darkness. A face appeared at the hole, and Jake's heart sank because of all people. It would be him. Brian Foster. "Oh my God, Jake, hang on. I'm going to get you out." Brian dropped down a rope he'd found and talked Jake through the agonizing climb. The warehouse was eerily quiet. Everyone had left. They said anyone who wasn't already upstairs was too weak for Sigma Chi, Brian said flatly, helping Jake to his car. As Brian drove toward the hospital, the truth came out. Brian's older brother, Michael, had died in a fraternity hazing ritual at Penn State in 1989. The fraternity had covered it up. That's why I pledged, to document everything, to get proof. I've been recording the hazing for weeks, tonight included. I'm turning it all over to the dean. Jake stared at him. They destroyed you all semester. Why didn't you quit? Because my brother didn't get to quit, and I couldn't let it happen to someone else, even if everyone treated me like garbage. At the hospital, Brian called Megan. She burst through the doors and saw Jake in a wheelchair. "You absolute idiot." "Yeah, I know." Monday morning, Jake and Brian presented Brian's evidence to the dean. Hours of recordings, photographs, testimonies. By afternoon, Sigma Chi's chapter was suspended. By week's end, Adam Chen and 3 senior brothers faced expulsion and criminal charges. It turned out this wasn't the first time someone had been seriously hurt. Just the first time anyone documented it. Today, more than 3 decades later, Jake knows he got a second chance that Michael Foster never did. Brian became a lawyer specializing in hazing prevention. Jake and Megan married in 1997. Every November 18th, Jake and Brian meet at the Michael Foster Memorial to honor the brother who should still be here. "People ask if I regret pledging," Jake says, holding that 1991 photograph. "The answer is complicated. I regret the person I became. I regret ignoring every warning. But I don't regret that night, because it taught me the most important lesson of my life." He points to Brian in the corner of the photo, the only one not smiling. Real brotherhood isn't about blind loyalty or surviving abuse. It's having the courage to do what's right when everyone else looks away. Brian was my real brother. He saved my life by being one. If you or someone you know is experiencing hazing, reach out for help. Resources are in the description below. Share this story. Somewhere right now there's a kid desperate to belong, about to make a choice that could end their life. Maybe this reaches them before it's too late. Hit subscribe, share this video, and remember, belonging should never cost you your safety, your dignity, or your life.